the theme of our show is the future, right?
Mhm.
So when you talk about innovation, obviously scientific progress is an important piece. Technology goes without saying. Any topic we discuss these days, technology is a big factor. But what are the factors do you think in the future will shape innovation besides just scientific progress or technology?
Yeah. Let me think about that. Because I remember you asked. So I think going forward, one thing that is really going to drive, or like the big overarching trend that I sort of see, is this continuing burden of knowledge problem. Like we're going to keep seeing like innovation getting this, harder, requiring bigger teams, more coordination, sort of like this organizational, maybe organizational reform, especially if we have more remote teams. We have to figure out how to coordinate that kind of group in a way that is, maybe not going to be the same uh, as how we did things in the past. Um, Other than that, like other factors that I think are important, like people talk about, like I think immigration policy might turn out to be important in the long run. Like if the United States withdraws from the world, the United States, for better or worse, is kind of the global leader, like sometimes referred to by like there's a guy Caleb Watney who call it like the United States the R&D lab of the world, and we have an outsized share of the top universities, the top tech companies, and so on. And if we can continue to draw bright young minds, and I don't know, just bright minds to the United States to work and continue like that stuff, that's really good, I think, for the world. Uh, but it also depends on sort of politics, like not just technology. I think that, as I said earlier, like a more remote world where there's more collaboration at a distance is it's uncertain what the sort of net effect will be. There's potential that it will enable new collaborations where between people on different coasts. I actually think that this might interact with the burden of knowledge in an important way where if you need larger and larger teams of ever more specialized people, it might become impossible to find all those people in the same place at the same time. And so you're just going to have to find a way to make it work remotely because you've got to find your nanotech specialist in Texas and your software integration specialist for nanotechnology in Seattle, whatever. And then I think another sort of non-technological factor that matters is um, representation from diverse groups among sort of the innovating elite. There's evidence about, for example, people like when you decide what to work on, you do your own historical and like lifetime experience influences what you think are important questions. And as women moved into the scientific labor force, for example, you started to see more attention paid to health issues and biology issues related to women. And I think that is like not that's just like a case study that is easy to study, but it could be throughout if we have a really unequal society, we may get more innovation that caters to to a small group of people willing to pay a great deal of money for certain kinds of inventions. And if we have uh, a society that's less unequal, then maybe people will try to find less expensive broadly, like maybe that will incentivize people to work on that. So I think the kind of society that we live in affects the kind of innovation we get and also sort of shapes it in turn. And also the kind of people who are able to work as inventors affects the kinds of people who are kind of catered to in terms of what technologies and scientific ideas are investigated.